Welcome once again. Good evening, and I'm happy to have you and glad that you've been able to make it to today's webinar. Thank you so much for making that time. And I think we are going to proceed while others will find us where they will find us. I want to start by thanking God for giving us this opportunity to be here together. My colleague, unfortunately, she can't join me. Marianne, she has an emergency, so should not be joining in today. But that does not stop us from moving ahead so that we can be able to share what we had planned. Some of things she's going to come and share next week when we meet again. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for making the time and allowing yourself to be here today, because I think the topic of discussion is of great interest, especially if you are in a place where you feel nothing is moving in terms of your career. You just feel stuck. And I think when we look back at our topic for today, for this webinar, and the main reason maybe why I wanted us to have Marianne is because we were going to start at the foundation so that we get things very clear from the start. Our discussion today is around, it was meant to be around 2 areas, but I will focus more on one of the areas. And next week, we can always see how we can bring this other area into play. Because normally when you find yourself in a situation where your career is not moving forward, you are feeling like you are stuck, then you begin to ask yourself questions, you begin to have beliefs, you begin to imagine that there are things that are holding you back. And that is where we want to have the discussions around, like, what happens? Why does it happen? And that is our discussion today. I am going to be putting this up on YouTube. That was my intention. Actually, my intention was to connect it directly to YouTube. And because then anybody who has missed the session, maybe they were not able to log in, they will be able to log in. But because we are not having the rest of the people, I think they will join in as we are going on. We'll just proceed and do this, and we'll be able to still upload it on YouTube. We still have that option, but to not be live, like as we're speaking right now. I'm happy that this is going to be a series of many. We're going to be going through several areas that touch on leadership and accelerating your career. And this being something that affects us every day, then it's going to be a discussion, presentation, and input both from yourself and myself. Because at the end of the day, success is something that we want to be able to interrogate, transform, and be able to put into our life something that we can question, something that we can actually take examples from our colleagues, because learning in terms of life and in terms of career, we sometimes have to borrow from the people who have been there before. So the 2 questions that we wanted to address with today's topic, which is, are these myths blocking your promotion? Because maybe you feel that when you look around, you ask yourself, is it me? Or is it that other people are getting an advantage before me for certain reasons? And you can look around and ask yourself so many questions, and you can begin even to doubt yourself and think that there's something wrong with you. And mostly that could be also something that you could be like telling yourself so many times, like, I think I'm the problem. I think there's something wrong with me. But before we reach there, you're meeting me maybe for the first time and you're asking me, why should I tell you about this? Why should I talk to you about career? Why should I talk to you about leadership? Why should I talk to you about promotion? And why do you need to listen to me? There are times you can have your own idea of the people you want to speak to you. Because we normally listen to the people we think that they have changed their lives and they can help us change our lives. That is what we call mentorship role modeling. And when we are talking about that, we are also saying you are going to be a role model for somebody because there was somebody who was there for me. And now, for me, I have to be there for you. So I begin by introducing myself. And I think the best way to introduce myself is to reflect back to help you to see the journey that I've traveled. In 1994, I had a small baby. I was a housewife. My baby was 4 months old. And the only thing that I could say that this is what I have was my degree, my bachelor's of education. And having such a degree, you'd expect that I'm supposed to go and start teaching to be in a school or something like that. But it didn't happen because I was fortunate or unfortunate in another country, which means I could not get a teaching posting in the new place. And when I arrived in this country, they were almost doing away with all the foreign teachers. So I was in a land where maybe my services were not at that time needed. So now where do you start from such a place? You can ask yourself and you can think like, here you are in a foreign land with a baby. Who do you leave your baby with? Who do you talk to? Who do you go to? Who do you share with? That here is my degree and I really need to start working or have qualified to be a teacher. Fast forward to 2025 and I am a CEO. I'm an author, 2 times best-selling book. I'm a speaker. I'm a mentor. I'm a leadership coach. And the list keep adding itself as I position myself for the various things. Why is this important? Because in your career, if you don't start figuring out where you are and where you want to go, then you'll be stuck because you will have no plan where you want to go. And indeed, I didn't even have that plan. I must confess, I didn't even have that plan. Here you are in a foreign land. How do you start? Where do you start? Where are you going to go? So you are in your career where you are at this point and you want to move to the next level. So you need to sit down, have your pen and note down, where are you right now? And at the same time, as you note down that, it's important to start mapping out where you want to go, because then that is what is going to help you to start planning what you need to do. Where do you want to be? You're saying maybe you are just a mid-level manager, maybe just a manager, but you are seeing yourself that I am more than this. Why? Because what you do deserves more. So if you begin to look at where you are right now and where you could be, that is most likely going to give you the motivation that you need to start working forward. But then, here you are now, and you do all the work. You have this nice desire, dream of where you ought to be. And this is very, very important because if you don't have that desire, nothing pushes you forward if you don't have any desire. And I want you to think about anybody who has achieved anything. They always have a desire, an imagination of where they want to be or where they think they should be. Because then with the imagination, then they start working towards that. In fact, they say the brain is able to process what you can imagine. Because what you can imagine, it means it's possible. It's been done by other people. So you are here figuring, I need to be the next director of the department. I need to be the head of the department. It means it is possible. It means you have the qualifications that you need to have. But then you hold back. Why? Because there are these myths that you've been holding back, that are holding you back. And you keep on asking yourself, really, if you can move forward. And I know for a long time, for the people that I met, for the people that I've helped, they also feel that. They always feel, I'm good enough, but I'm not moving. I'm good enough, but I'm not moving. I know when when they share that moment that they have moved forward, because the desire to move forward has got a lot of meaning. The dreams that you have, and the dreams are not yours alone. I want you to think about the family. Like, if you get a promotion, what's going to happen? If you get a promotion, what's going to happen to the children? What's going to happen to you? What's going to change in your life? Because that is what makes you be so motivated to want to move forward and to keep desiring to move forward. But then, because you are the mid-level manager, you are busy there, you have to make things work. And I think one of the things that you will look at and you need to think about is that at the level where you are, and this is one of the things maybe we forget, because where we are as mid-level managers, our role is to make sure that things happen regardless, because we are in between. We are like the bridge. We are the bridge between the executive and the workers themselves. We are the bridge. We listen to the bosses, what they want to achieve, the leaders, what is that vision they have. We want to make sure that vision is realized. So we are able to carry that vision and bring in the teams, the employees, the staff, the colleagues, name them, to do the work, to ensure that that work delivers the results that are needed to be able to achieve what the organization is desiring, which means we are translating the strategy into action and giving results. We are carrying cultures in enabling the organization to bring the values that we want to embody, so that whatever the vision is, what are the values that will ensure that this vision comes to life? That is what we do. And it is an everyday thing. And as a manager, you are waking up and you're thinking, what was not done yesterday? What needs to be done today? What was not done yesterday? What needs to be done today? And we are influencing performance. We are motivating these people. We are finding ways to make sure we hit our goals. So we drive execution, innovation, and we also solve a lot of problems, right? Because then we can't achieve without solving those problems. The problems, they come there every single day. And I am sure when you reflect back, you can see the day-to-day activities that you do that enable the activities to deliver what you have to deliver every day. There's no single day you sit in the office as a manager and you don't get the results. You want the results, because it is the results that move the organization forward. I know this is something that you can overlook, but I remember my initial times when I was now in an organization. I was there supporting the team as an administration manager. And I remember every day, we were busy trying to get everything working and running, getting results, so that the following day we are moving forward. We are arranging The next day, we are arranging something new, and we are making sure that these results are bringing the organization closer to its desires and it's meeting its goals. And you can keep doing that. You can keep doing that. We worked late. We worked on Sundays, you know, and you put in your effort and you're thinking, I'm sure my boss will see my work. I'm sure my boss will see my work, and I'm going to put every effort. I know we used to leave the office like sometimes at 7. Now, can you imagine, like, if it is you as a manager and you have to make sure that things are working, because you don't want to wake up in the morning and find nothing is working. You don't want that. You make sure everything is working. So I would make sure that by the time I'm leaving the office, everything is set for tomorrow and everything will be done. So that is what you may be doing every day. So you're working with people. And this now brings the question you may start asking yourself now. Am I a leader? Am I a manager? Am I a bridge? Am I a junior staff? Who am I? And I think that is a question you can answer yourself very well. Anyway, so the 3 myths that you could be holding and which could be holding you back are: 1, that because I stayed last night until 7, I worked on Sunday, my boss saw. Let me tell you, that myth that my work will speak for itself, that's something that you need to think a lot. Because the truth is, yes, you're performing, you're delivering. But are you visible in a way that the boss knows? And I am just in that space. I can see my boss is seeing us doing the work, but did he know what part I played? No. To him, all of us did the work. All of us did the work. So you have to be very, very intentional in ensuring that you're visible. You have to be intentional that your work is visible. Because the assumption that because you're staying late, because you are coming on Sunday, because you have finished the work, that the boss will know. Let me tell you, even from a from a CEO position, because I will miss very easily. I will not even be aware that you did the work because the work has been done. There's no obvious thing that I will definitely think it was you who did it. That doesn't come to my mind because there are many employees. Anybody could have helped you. Anybody could have done it. So stop assuming that I know it is you. Stop assuming that their boss knows it is you. So myth number 1, we're done with it. So you better start thinking of a different strategy of how you're going to address that one so that now you stop assuming that he will know. And now start thinking differently. Myth number 2, promotions are purely about performance. Yes, everything is working right. The deadlines we met, we produced, I'm telling you, those things sometimes can pass without even your boss being aware about this. The truth is that performance just opens the door. Yeah. We can deliver on time. We are delivering on time. We know what to do. The team knows what to do. The team, I didn't talk about you as a manager. So perception gets you invited. So now it is upon you to make sure that perception and the boss can see this through their lens that it is you. You have to be intentional. There's no shortcut here. There's no shortcut. And in most cases, you find that you have opportunities. You could have opportunities, and some of the opportunities that come in during meetings, you can make sure you take the first 10 minutes, at least say something related to what you are doing. Bring to the attention of the boss or the decision makers, because maybe you are called for an important meeting where the decision makers are there. Don't sit there and assume, oh, they will know. They will definitely know it is me who did that presentation. They don't know. They don't know. Make a point of doing that. And maybe even make a point of mentioning the wins that you've had that week. Make a point, or that day or the previous day. Because then you bring for me what we call like presence in terms of people relating that information with you. Put a face to what has been said, you see? Put a face to it, because when the information is coming, and especially like most likely it's going to come in a document, it doesn't put a face to you. It's an organization. The only way you can be able to stand out, you have to make sure at least can put a face to it. Important. Myth number 3 is you think that influence means office politics. By the way, it doesn't mean that. And in fact, a lot of people, when you speak to them about promotions and why they were overlooked by past, they will just bring the story of there was office politics. So that's why they didn't get there. That's why they didn't get the promotion. But the truth is that influence is equals to trust, visibility, and consistency. I want you to think about, I just want you to give you just simple examples that can relate and help you. Every day as you watch your TV, there are some adverts that run all the time. And because of that consistency, presence, if I might call that presence or visibility, you make a decision that it's the right product or it's the right service because you are seeing it every single day. Now you as the mid manager, how will you be seen so that you can be positioned and so that now you can change the perception of the decision makers towards you? You are in a meeting, you can submit something, you can ask something during the meeting, you can be able to participate in the meeting by sharing what you have done with your team. So it's not about playing games, it's not about politics. And we always make that mistake. In the meantime, we push away the people that we're supposed to actually work with so that they can see our potential. Because if they can't see our potential, they cannot imagine us in those positions, how we will be able to perform. Because that's another thing that you have to put in our minds. They must imagine, if you're a leader, how will you take? You see, the thing about being like in a leadership position, because I'm also in a leadership position, is that you imagine, is that person going to take my vision forward or are they going to kill it? So it's upon you to show this and to be able to work around these 3 myths. I've given you just a few. There are many, because even when you look at one of the biggest one that I didn't talk about here is that people just imagine that if I want a promotion, I just go for another certificate. If I want a promotion, I go for another certificate. And that's what a lot of people do. They pile up so many certificates, but they don't get promotions. Why? Because the certificates will not go present themselves as the people qualified for that position. And unfortunately, sometimes the assumption that the certificate will give you the skills or the confidence that you need to show up, there's nothing like that. Please, there's nothing like that. Be realistic and tell yourself that whether the certificate is there or not, I must start showing up and showing that I am able to do the work and doing it, demonstrating, doing it, do it, and do it. Do even when you feel you don't know, ask. And that is the advantage of being in places where there are other people, because you can always ask. And when you're asking, you are learning, you are growing. And when you're growing, you are also increasing your confidence. Nobody was born and brought up here like knowing what they need to do. No, they didn't, unfortunately or fortunately. They are already ready, having a growth mindset, which is ready to learn, ready to take action, ready to implement. And that is what will help you. Because the assumption that everything will just happen is not going to happen or might not happen. And this is why it's important to be able to gather that courage to know that I know I can step into this space. I don't know what, but I can learn. I'm open to learning. And I'll be able to demonstrate that I am capable. Because if you don't demonstrate, then that perception is not there. Okay. Before I proceed, I just want to gather if there are any questions so far. What is connecting? What is not connecting from what I have discussed? And if it's really, really helpful for that. And I would be glad to hear from you. You can unmute. You can have your cameras on. I always wish to have, I was trained by people who taught me you have to have your camera on. So find that the fear disappeared after that. So you're told you have to record 100 videos, 100 videos. You record, you record, you record, you record, you record until the fear goes. So most welcome. Feel free, just unmute and go ahead and speak. Just say something from what I've presented. What is the one thing that you will take away from what I've said? Esther, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Coach, for the session so far. Right now I'm outside, so I cannot put on the video. It's kind of dark and blurry. But what I've picked so far, I'm an administrator, literally a mid-level. You hear people this way, then you hear from your bosses. You keep on contradicting, fighting each other. But the myth number one that my work will not speak for itself in front of my bosses. Like you said earlier, sometimes we work, and by the end of the day, the bosses will be like, "Thank you for the work," and you'll be like, "Wow, I have ever experienced that." You work Monday, you come at 7, you leave at 9, but then at the end of the day, it is we as a team. So at a moment, I could feel disappointed until I learned that this is we. If the work is done, it's we. Even if you push it, you put in much, and so at the end, it's we. So what I'm picking is to be visible, and it's to be able to present, to stand out, so that I can be visible. And then one challenge I'm facing that this year actually I wanted it's not a promotion, but I wanted to leave. Like I'm seeing myself, I've been in this place for so long, so I was fighting over having a lot of certifications here and there, and the other about the company politics, the office politics. Why are they considering the other over me? So, truly, this was speaking to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I was saying I wanted to add a point on the we and I. And as a CEO, one of the things that happens when we have our workers give us work, when we're presenting to the entire group, we say we because it represents the company. I will not stand there and start saying Esther did this, because then the others might be demotivated. That is why you have to be intentional so that the boss knows it is you who did and what did you do. So that now in his eyes, he is aware that Esther is capable of doing this or is not capable of doing it. So you have to be very intentional. But you understand that when it is presented to the team, it is presented elsewhere, it is we, because it presents the company. I hope that's also clear. Doctor, you can go ahead. You can share. Doctor, you can also introduce yourself. Sorry, Esther, I should have given you that opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Winnie, for the opportunity. So I'll be Dr. Muhammad Moki, currently the executive director of Uganda Network of Businesses. So in Uganda Network of Businesses, we encourage people to employ themselves in business and also start business to supplement their income. As you are looking for promotion, you can also have a business because with promotion you can get additional income. But that additional income can also be supplemented by business. So that's what we do. So for today's session, based on my experience, it's also important that we keep updating our skills. If we have to get promoted, then we have to keep updating our skills, our knowledge and skills. But total three, they talk of knowledge, skills, and experiences. So you also need to keep updating experiences. So that's why coaches are very, very important. So when you have a coach will support you in getting additional knowledge, additional skill, additional experience. Then you can move on. But to move, we expect to climb ladders when you have the same knowledge, the same skills and experience, but very, very different. Very, very different. Because the higher you go, you require, you'll be facing uh, more challenges, more work. So you need also to climb the ladders with those things. So that's why these such sessions are very, very important. You want us to engage in as many of these many of such sessions, network, make sure you accumulate more knowledge, accumulate more skills, accumulate more experiences, then you go climb the ladder. Thank you very much, Winnie, for this good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Esther, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. I didn't give you that opportunity.
My name is Natongo Esther. I'm from Uganda, and basically, my work right now, my experience that I have, I work with a company called Lenders Accounting Solutions as the administrator as well as an accountant. And basically, my work, I deal with students. I've trained some during the internship and undergraduate trainees. I'm passionate about working with people, especially the interns, because that is the market that I'm in, that I joined straight away after campus. And I've been able to join a number of groups. And I first know new coach from Coach Samuel. And when I saw the flyer, I decided to join because I felt I needed this more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you again. And you're most welcome. We'll be running the series just to help us to understand what the HR role is so that when you are working on your career, you know how to move from one level to another, what to do, so that you are intentional, because where you want to get to, you have to have a plan, and that plan you can't work with that without being intentional. You have to be intentional. You say, this is where I want to be. In the next 2 years, this is where I want to be. And that needs a plan, because again, you can't move to the next role if you actually don't have a plan of how you can move forward to. So these myths are very dangerous because they can keep somebody who is very, very capable stuck. And you can be kept in silence because you keep on thinking about these things and you keep making yourself like shrink. Because in most cases, when you begin to have some of this, they just play, they also play in your mind. Like there are tricks that play in your mind softly and quietly. And when they play on your mind, you can keep shrinking yourself. So when in reality, actually, the role that a middle manager is playing is very, very important. It's very important because the organization cannot move forward without these people. And I think this is one of the things that we shall actually look broadly at next week with Marianne, so that when you're in an organization, you understand what are the roles that I need to play with, work with when I'm in this specific position. Don't assume, how do I again move myself forward? And to actually begin taking action now, we want to be able to look at, how do I position myself? Like, I'm not being seen, I'm behind, I'm in between, you know, you're behind the bosses or the leadership. And then you are before the employees. So you are in between that gap. In that gap, if you're the bridge, you have to have some intention of how you're going to show up. And you need to think about showing up with intention. And that is why you have to have a plan. How do you make sure you are remembered all the time? Not just them seeing the results. How do you make sure you are there in their minds? When they sit to have a meeting, you are in their mind. And that is why I said, be intentional. If you are going for a meeting where the decisions are placed or where the decision makers are going to be, it's important. Ask a question, talk, volunteer to do something. Like, I'm sure there's going to be many opportunities from, say, if it's a meeting where you are meeting, you need somebody, we need somebody to do this, we need somebody to do this, we need somebody to do it. Volunteer. The opportunities are always there. Speak the first 10 minutes of every meeting if it's possible. If you can request, you can ask a question. Okay? Share your wins like we discussed. What are some of the wins you've had yesterday, today? What are some of those wins? They need to know. They can't tell who brought them. And I can tell you, like, if you're sitting in a CEO's office, it's so hard to know who did what. It's very hard because your mind is thinking about tomorrow, the future, and things like that. Bring it to my attention, like, this is what I did to make the team win, to make the organization win. Like, it's like really present so that I am with you, okay? And make sure that even some of these wins, sometimes if there's most organizations, they'll have like a place where you can put those announcements. You can share those. You can also share if you don't have it's not tied to regulations that say talking about the thing that you did will affect the organization. You can share that. But in most organizations, they will be sharing what they are doing. So, and that's how sometimes even find people get placed as the employee of the year, heads of the spotlight, the weekly spotlight. How do you get into those? You get into those by making sure these things are visible to the other people. Then connect, because connection and actually influence is through connecting with people and relating with people. Relationship is actually a currency by itself. I know that one of the things that helped me connect and build network around the world is just connecting. And if you can just be intentional, connect. Look at the people sometimes you admire are the people who have got the values or the place that you want to be. So you want to build some of those characters, connect with them, work with them, begin to learn, because they say by association, you begin to behave. Like, it's very likely people will find the 5 of you do things the same way. It's the same thing that they say, like when a husband and wife stay for too long, you can just easily tell this the wife, this the husband. Why? By association, because there are some things that they begin, I don't know whether to call it copying, but they begin to behave in a way that it's alike. So now you're building yourself, connect with people. You want to go to to a certain level. Those skills you are building, you are seeing them on other people. Who are these people? These are the people you are most likely admiring. These are the people you are looking up on, your role models, your mentors, your coaches and things. The more that you interact, the more you build your character, the more you build your confidence. I've realized like some of the mentors that I had have really impacted me. Like I began by saying I had to learn how to do the Zoom with cameras on. My mentors were like, you have to have your camera on. They ask you, have your camera on, speak. It helped me. And when I see them, when I see myself, I feel good because I feel they helped me to overcome something I would not have. After all, actually, when I started recording, I think it was 2016, I started recording videos, I think 2016. And it's so interesting. I started recording the videos very early. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just recording. Today I'm just going to record about leadership. Tomorrow I'm something. I was just recording. In fact, I think Facebook put some of them down if I haven't downloaded them. That was long. And that time, most of the people would not even put themselves in camera. People are busy getting scared. Or you can't put your face, I don't know, this or that and that. But since 2020, people have been forced to work around the camera. So you can now imagine now people have to learn a new skill they want to be able to do. Now, if you want to be able to speak on video, you have to start practicing it. You have to start going to those places that pushes you out of that comfort zone so that now you can be able to do it. And like the more you interact with those people, just find those behaviors rub on you. And that begins to bring out that part. And you begin again to also learn, because now you get free and you can be able to ask like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And that's how you build relationships. And relationships are very, very important because they are the ones that help, especially with promotions. You find that people go speak about you when you're not there. So you find that somebody says, can we have so and so take this position? So you find maybe you don't have to apply. I remember I didn't know Coach Samuel, but I had seen him. I'd seen actually not him, I'd seen something somebody had added, like they were part of the team that helped her do something. Then I'd put it somewhere like I need to follow Coach Samuel. But he was introduced to me and referred to me by somebody. So you see how people like refer, you see how your name can go ahead. That's why it's good. Make relationship. You never know who might recommend you where. And when you make relationship and when you're working with people, do your best like it was just your job, because that's how they will be knowing when they introduce you to that other person. They say they will be able to handle this. They are confident of you. So make them confident so that you don't just make a connection and then when you get the job, you go, you mess the job, and then they are like people wondering, are you sure you need this person? So build the relationship, and this is the same as at work, because you are not going to achieve anything without that relationship. So it is important to build relationships and make sure that in organizations where you have so many bosses, you know who is the key person who makes the decision. What would make, how would you make a relationship with them without not appearing it's out of place? It's like it's a work relationship, but in a way that they can see your input. That is important. And always make sure that if you get opportunities, if it's not your department and maybe you want to go work in the other department, volunteer. Volunteering gives you the opportunities to learn from other people. It gives you also opportunities to demonstrate that you can do. It also gives the other people the opportunity to see your leadership skills or to see the skills that you have, because in the next role, definitely it will require certain skills. And while you are while you are doing all this, you are building your confidence, which is important, because when you build confidence, people can see it, people can feel it, people will now be able to come to that specific, that specific place of saying, yes, I have seen this person in action. I know they can do it, and I would vote for them. So be confident, build it, and make sure that when you build it, that remains in the minds of the people, so that even now when they're discussing, because sometimes they'll discuss in places you can't get in, they are very confident of you. And that is how you become unforgettable, and that's how you become like a person in people's minds. You build it. You are intentional. You are intentional, and you must do that. So those are some of the examples that will help you, and I hope that this will help you. And as you begin to build yourself to the next position, because what happens with executive, they are always thinking around the people they want. These are the people we are thinking for this position. Do they fit in? So if you have been intentional in positioning yourself and demonstrating that you can take that role, then they will be able to vote for you, and they'll be able to even recommend you for the position. So remember, it's not about any title. It's about how you consistently show up, how you connect with people, how you build relationship, how you influence, how you relate with others in the workplace, because leadership is also about working with other people. Are you able to bring people together to work together? At the end of the day, you can't achieve anything without the other people. So how do you motivate these people to come together and do what they don't like to do? I always say that human beings, let me put it this way, human beings don't like to do anything, including myself. They don't like to do anything. So something has to motivate them. Now imagine if you yourself, you need motivation. How about other people? How will you be able to motivate them? So that is something you have to keep in mind. So remember, it's not about the title. It's about some myths, and you need to also start navigating and asking yourself those difficult questions, where those myths come from, and maybe start asking yourself, are these true or not? So that when you because I said I only looked at 3. I had looked at 3 the other time. Maybe there are others, many. And yourself, you've built also some myths which are not correct. So I want to believe that with what we have said, now you know your role. It is not about delivering just the tasks. It's about influencing success, because you are the bridge, remember? And you have to unlearn these myths. You know, these are things that we learn. We need to unlearn them. And we have to unlearn them. Why? Because as the bridge, because we are in between the boss and the staff, we have to somehow shine, and we have to be recognized for the work that we do. So confidence is not built overnight. No, it's not. It's in small daily actions that we take, and that include showing up for ourselves. Nobody, by the way, will show up for us. So I'm hoping that with all this, that there is at least one myth that you're going to let go, so that in your next life, in your next future, you don't have this bothering you. Like when it comes, you just switch it off. When it comes, you just switch it off. And I believe that through the series that we're going to be working on, that you will be able to stand out and one day say, you know what? I overcame this myth to be able to see my potential, because at the end of the day, you have the potential. You have the potential. I think that's what somebody or anybody doesn't remind us. We need to remind ourselves every now and again, and we need to congratulate ourselves that for you to be able to get people, to rally people, to be able to achieve the goals of the organization is not a small task. You are able, and you need and deserve to get that promotion, because with that promotion, it can change your life. It can change the lives of many others around you. That I believe. So I would love to bring this to a conclusion with that. And I would love to hear what are your closing remarks in terms of which of those three myths you are going to draw going forward. Esther, you can unmute.
Thank you very much, Coach, for the wonderful session. It was really inspiring. And for me, I think I'll drop all the three. I know there are many that we have, but since you started with the first one, then the second one, the third one, I'll have to drop all the three to see that I can be able to level up. Thank you very much for the session.
Thank you for participating. Doctor?
Yes, Winnie, I'm around.
Yes, you can give us a summary as we bring to close.
Okay, so thank you very much, Winnie, for the opportunity once again, members. What I can indicate is that if you want to get a promotion, it's very important that one identifies the shared vision in the organization, and then see how much you can contribute towards the shared vision. That's when you'll be appreciated. Most often, people want to promote. Okay, they work very hard, but you find that they're only aiming at climbing the ladder without contributing to the shared vision, and that can backfire. So if we identify the shared vision, you work towards that, and then you keep attaining, acquiring new knowledge, new skills, new experiences, then you can do that. You can climb the ladders. And for you to climb the ladders, you also need to make sure that you get coaches and mentors. It's most often very, very difficult to climb when you don't have coaches and mentors. They're the ones who guide you. So, and that's why it's very important to attend such events. So, if such events are there, especially the free ones, then you really need to take advantage of that. So, Madam Winnie, that's what I can say. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for the reminder that we need to always have coaches, even ourselves, we always have coaches, because we need to keep updated in terms of what is working, because the workplace is changing very fast every single day. And if we don't change, if we are not up to date, then it means that we might lose the opportunities because we are not able to fit in the work environment. So we need to be able to fit in that environment. And with that, we will be able to accelerate our careers. That means that we can be able to move to the next level. I want to thank you so much for taking time to be with me tonight. And I hope that for those who didn't make it, we'll be able to share this on YouTube so that they can be able to also join. So I look forward to having you next Thursday. And we look forward to having Miriam, and it shall be a discussion. So most likely it's not going to be a presentation. It will just be a discussion as today. So thank you so much. I want to wish you a good evening. Thank you and goodbye.